This case in December takes us down south to Biloxi, Mississippi, where holiday shopping took a sinister turn in the baking aisle. Have you ever bitten into a piece of stale bread and it feels a bit painful? Be thankful it wasn't razor blades, because that's exactly what happened with some unlucky Walmart customers reportedly encountered. It started on December 5th, 2025 at the Walmart Supercenter on CT Switzer Drive. A shopper bit into a banana nut muffin and discovered a razor blade hidden inside. Just 2 days later, on December 7th, another incident at a nearby Walmart neighborhood market. A razor blade shoved into a loaf of bread. Store management pulled the affected items and alerted authorities, but the damage was done. No injuries reported, thankfully, but plenty of rattled nerves. Police released surveillance photos of a person of interest, and tips poured in identifying 33-year-old Camille Benson from Texas. On December 17th, investigators tracked her down and arrested her on a charge of attempted mayhem. The bond was set at $100,000, and she's accused of intentionally tampering with multiple bakery products across 2 stores. Motive? Still unclear. Could be a grudge, could be something more twisted. But in a world of grocery gripes, this takes Bad Batch to a whole new level. Our next case this December heads to Evansville, Indiana, where a routine food delivery turned into a spicy nightmare. I remember last year when I ordered DoorDash from Dairy Queen, and the lid on my blizzard wasn't sealed properly. I stared it down, debating if it was worth the potential risk. But after about 5 minutes, I threw caution to the wind and dug in. Luckily, I'm still kicking, but sadly, not everyone's that fortunate when their order gets tampered with. It all unfolded around December 9th, 2025, when Mark Cardin and his wife placed an order for Arby's through DoorDash. The driver, 29 years old, Kourtney and Stevenson, dropped off a bag at the doorstep as requested, but doorbell camera footage captured something far from standard. After setting the food down, Stevenson allegedly pulled out a can of pepper spray and doused the contents before walking away. Cardin's wife ate some of the contaminated roast beef sandwich and soon fell ill, experiencing burning sensations that led to a hospital visit. The video went viral after Cardin shared it online, prompting a swift investigation by the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office. Stevenson was arrested on December 12th and charged with felony battery resulting in moderate bodily injury and consumer product tampering. When questioned, she claimed she was just trying to spray a spider on the bag, an excuse that didn't hold up against the footage showing deliberate targeting of the food inside. DoorDash quickly deactivated her account and she's been held on bond as the case proceeds. This next one is from the frozen north of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Some people spend their snowy holidays drinking hot chocolate in front of a cozy fire. Some like to pass the time drifting their cars in an empty parking lot. But then there's Christopher Wright, who apparently preferred settling scores with heavy machinery. It was the afternoon of December 6, 2025 on the 100 block of 2nd Line West. Wright, a 57-year-old local, got into an argument with someone he knew. Details on the spark are sparse, but tensions ran high enough for things to turn physical, or at least mechanical. According to reports, Wright allegedly fired up his snowblower and directed a blast of snow straight at the other person, turning into a verbal spat into something straight out of a Winter Warfare manual. Not your typical assault, but intentional enough to leave the victim dusted and dazed apparently. This incident didn't hit the radar until the next morning, December 7th, when police received a report. They investigated, tracked down Wright that same day, and arrested him on charges of assault. No serious injuries were reported, just a cold reminder that not all neighborhood disputes stay civil. Wright was released with a court date set for February 9th, 2026. And this case in December takes us up in the air over the Midwest, where a routine flight turned into every traveler's worst nightmare. Before I hop on a plane, my algorithm always seems to sense it and starts terrorizing me with videos of plane crashes. I have to remind myself that millions of people fly safely every day and it'll be fine. But the absolute last thing I would need mid-flight is what these passengers went through. A full-blown meltdown at 30,000 feet. It happened on December 28, 2025, aboard United Airlines Flight 2410 from Washington to Salt Lake City. Not long after takeoff, 25-year-old Jordan Robert Langston got out of his seat, approached a flight attendant and declared, "This is a simulation," while waving his hands overhead. When asked to clarify, he insisted the entire flight was one. He then headed to the back where he pushed another attendant, stepped on their shoes and demanded to get off the plane. The crew warned him to stop or they'd turn back, and the captain declared a level 2 security threat, enlisting able-bodied passengers to keep an eye on things. But about 30 minutes later, Langston stood up again, started to shadowbox in the aisle and threw punches, striking one of those passenger helpers right in the face, just below the nose. Chaos ensued as the group took him down, restrained him with plastic cuffs at the back of the plane, where he kept ranting about simulations and death. The captain diverted to Omaha, Nebraska for an emergency landing. Upon touchdown, local police escorted Langston off and arrested him. He's facing federal charges for interference with flight crew members and attendants, and a judge ordered him to be held in custody pending trial, citing concerns over mental health and possible substance issues. The plane eventually continued to Salt Lake City without him. Christmas can be a tough time for many. It's expensive, and personally I've picked up a few extra shifts at work myself to cover gifts. Even scrapping together pennies from a YouTube video that racked up 14 views and about 0.0001 cents in ad revenue. But not everyone opts for that kind of grind. Some take a more unconventional route. It happened in the early hours of December 22nd, 2025, at a farm in the Redland area of southwest Miami-Dade. Deputies on patrol spotted 29-year-old Ido Perez crossing a fence line, hauling large bags back to his Mercedes-Benz. When they approached, they found the trunk stuffed with roughly 400 pounds of freshly picked avocados, enough to make guacamole for an army. Perez allegedly admitted to the theft, saying he planned to sell the haul to buy Christmas presents for his kids. No weapons and no chase, just a straightforward bust on an agriculture site. He was arrested on charges of trespassing and third-degree grand theft and booked into the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center. Bond details weren't immediately released, but the case highlights how far some will go when the holiday bills pile up. For our final case this December, we're circling back to the flying theme with a stop at Miami International Airport, where one traveler's holiday plans went up in smoke. I always get a bit paranoid navigating airport security, right before stepping through the TSA scanner with my bags rolling behind me. I start overthinking every little thing, imagining non-existent drugs or weapons tucked away that could derail my trip. Thankfully, once I get the all clear, I let out a huge sigh of relief and shuffle towards my gate. This passenger, on the other hand, had a far riskier adventure in mind. It all unfolded on December 23rd, 2025 at MIA's bustling terminals. A 22-year-old, who I'm going to attempt to say their name, Begum Mulazimoglu, from London, was gearing up to board a Virgin Atlantic flight bound for Heathrow. As part of routine checks, her checked luggage raised red flags during screening, likely due to an unusual weight or perhaps a tip from K9 units, though details on the initial trigger aren't fully public. When Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office deputies and customs officials popped open her suitcases, they allegedly uncovered more than 65 pounds of marijuana, vacuum sealed and stashed away in bundles. That's no small stash, we're talking. Enough weed to fill multiple carry-ons with a street value estimated around $30,000 depending on the market. Mulazimoglu was arrested on the spot before she could even make it to the gate, facing a felony charge of trafficking cannabis over 25 pounds. A serious offense in Florida that could carry hefty penalties, including mandatory minimum sentences if convicted. She was booked into a local detention center with bond details not immediately released, and the case is now winding through the courts. Motive? Authorities suspect it was an attempt to smuggle the drugs internationally, possibly for distribution in the UK where prices can be higher, but no official word on that yet. In a hub like MIA, which sees millions of passengers annually and is a key gateway for transatlantic flights, incidents like this highlight the constant vigilance of security teams, using everything from x-rays to explosive trace detections to sniff out contraband. It's the kind of bus that makes you double check your own packing list.